Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to take a look at basically the Ultimate Clash and how you can build teams for every boss. We'll start with Broly, go through him in full detail, and then of course we'll dissect all the other bosses in a summary at the end. So if you want that, skip about 4 minutes ahead in the video. Now let's talk about Broly. Broly is immune to stunning. He raises his attack and defense permanently on every super, and he launches a special AoE normal attack against us, which causes some problems. The key to stopping Broly is two techniques: sealing and attack luring. Now the super in team has some pretty cool options for sealing. We have the good old Giru and we have Ribrianne, and Ribrianne being a pretty solid choice due to the fact that she has two abilities wrapped in one. She applies a flat minus 30% to Broly's attack from her passive, whilst also simultaneously providing the ability to seal. We get pretty unlucky here because we get supered right off the bat, but outside of that we managed to establish ourselves pretty early on. Great Sandman's pretty solid from his ability to lower attack and defense. Goku is a good floating option due to the fact that he can't take damage because of his ability to counter in the second or third slot. Ribrianne is pretty crucial due to her sealing, as is Giru. If you don't have them, you're going to have to go with whichever team you have a good sealer on. You can run an extreme int team and use the free-to-play Captain Ginyu. He's also a very solid option, especially alongside the Super Strike 16. And that's usually my first choice, except I had to use Captain Ginyu as an emergency earlier on in the battlefield, which I'll discuss later on. But overall, once you have the boss sealed, you're basically good to go. As soon as you have Broly sealed, you're essentially able to control the tide of the battle pretty well, and you're able to attack lure him and keep things in check. It can be a little bit of a battle against attrition, especially if you're using as many free-to-play characters as I am, but overall, at the end of the day, it should be a pretty straightforward victory. As with all of my Ultimate Clash builds, I do prioritize having mono teams more so over anything else, because those are just the ones that I find are easiest for players to put together. However, you're welcome to put whatever team you want together. You can, for example, very easily put a full extreme int team together of Time Travelers units, or Terrifying Conquerors units, or Giant Form units, or Gifted Warriors units. You can do the same on the super side with full Batara teams, with full Dragon Ball Seekers teams. So basically, it's all super duper simple. Now, obviously outside of that, essentially, there's not too much else really to worry about. Once you have Broly set up, you're basically good to go. If he does super attack you too many times, firstly, you're probably dead, because I don't really know, like, surviving super attack from Broly like 2 or 3 times is pretty impressive. You clearly just don't care and you're using very strong units. But he raises his attack and defense, so he just gets progressively worse, and the AoE normal attacks that he fires get progressively worse as well. So that's kind of the big restricting limitation on Broly, but outside of that, you should be pretty good to go. It's just going to depend on realistically getting the setup in, and that's really the big danger. That first turn, as you saw with me, you can tend to get super attacked, you can tend to get caught out, and this limits you a little bit. You do end up being slightly caught off guard, and then you take too much damage, and then it's hard to catch up. And that's the case for a lot of the battlefield bosses. Sometimes players can just get caught out. Sometimes your rotations suck, and you don't get a sealer, and you don't get attack luring, and then all of a sudden you get hit by a super attack, and you're too low, and then the next turn you die. And that can happen. The only real kind of advice I have in that scenario is essentially to basically just relax and you'll be fine. So we just skipped ahead a little bit because, like I said, it's a bit of a war of attrition. It's not that fun, the footage, so we don't need to watch all of it. But yeah, basically once we got everything sorted, we just kind of rolled through. Vegeto's heal helped, and it helped more for damage actually than anything else. We were doing fine health-wise before the heal. And that's that. That's Broly defeated. Pretty good. Pretty straightforward, actually. Honestly, wasn't too hard. Nice team builds. I think both Extreme and Super Int have pretty good solutions for this. So yeah, let's take a look at the rest of the bosses. So Chaozu is able to lock rotation and can stun you. We just use Team Bardock here to save on units for the rest of the battlefield. So do this, it saves you time. You can also do it with Ginyu Force, but I find them to be more usable elsewhere. Then we have Vegeta, who's immune to stunning and can lower your attack. Also fairly straightforward, lots of free to play units in this build. So pick and choose. They were only 80% all type leads, so it really wasn't that big a deal. Next we have Frieza. Here you can seal him. He's immune to stunning, attack lowering, defense lowering, and he also lowers your attack. You can seal him. Poutine's a great choice, but Boo and Bubbly are also a really solid free to play choice. Once you've sealed them up, you're basically good to go. You don't need to worry about too much else. It's all fairly straightforward. Next, we have good old Tapion, the exact same abilities as Frieza, so immune to stunning, attack lowering, defense lowering, and lowers your attack. Again, here we need to seal. Our only real sealer here is Babidi and Dabura, and the rest of the team is just kind of straightforward. These two bosses aren't too hard, so sealing them is not mandatory. Things take a bit of a step up with GT Goku, who's immune to stunning, attack lowering, defense lowering, but he now massively lowers your defense, which can cause you some problems. It's best to counteract him with units that have damage reduction, but also bringing seals. We have Demon God Salsa, and we also have the Gildo, who seals from his passive. We also have First Form Cell, who provides damage and some healing. Next, we are looking at Gohan. Gohan is immune to stunning, he can evade, and he also does the same as Goku while massively lowering your defense. Gohan is great to seal, of course, which we use Chi-Chi for, but he can evade your attack, so you need to bring some kind of sustain, because if he evades your seal, he could give you problems. So I use Pan, who's also got damage reduction, which again helps to counter that massively lowering defense. Here we come to my problem child for this Ultimate Clash. Mainly because my sealer was in the third slot, basically didn't appear for 2 turns, and that just set me up to fail. Bojack's one of those. He's immune to stunning, attack lowering, defense lowering, and he raises his defense on his super. He's just relatively tanky, and the problem is if you don't get the seal off, he can do some decent damage, so it just ended up being a little bit rough for me to kind of recover from those first 2 turns where I got supered twice and I was just very low on health and couldn't recover. Then got insta-supered on the next turn, and it just kind of begins that whole cycle. Don't worry about it too much, make sure you seal him up. Try actually switch the Extreme and AGL teams. I think Extreme has a more accessible sealer. Then we have Gotenks, who's immune to stunning, can evade, can fire multiple super attacks, and can stun you with his own super attack. We're pretty well covered here on the physical side with 2 great free-to-play sealers in the form of Great Saiyaman 1 and 2, who seal on their 12 key, and Master Roshi, who seals on his 18 key. Remember the key requirements because those are important to make that run work. And then finally we have Super Boo, who is able to evade attacks, heals himself a lot, and can stun you with his super. However, he's weak to both sealing and stunning. I only have sealing units in this team, and it just takes you a while to defeat him. Stunning accelerates it a lot because then he can't heal. And that's it. That's basically everything you need to know. Hopefully that covers everything for you guys, and yeah, I'll definitely be seeing you guys in the next video. So until then, as always, take care, stay safe, and if you do need any more help, you can let me know in the comments down below. But until then, bye.